Good morning, everyone. I'm Anna Karugati, the Group Editorial Director of WorldScreen, and we have a fascinating panel for you this morning. Drama as a genre has always been a staple of networks around the world. In the last few years, I think it's fair to say it's had a renaissance with more, some darker, some more complex, some more morally compromised characters we've been seeing on screen. But I am very happy to say that in my preliminary discussions with our panelists, I'm seeing that family dramas are very popular in all countries, not only crime and odd characters. So the beauty about this panel this morning is that we're going to hear from and see a vast array of different type of drama, of which the quality is all extremely high, because I think we can all agree viewers nowadays are very sophisticated and demand only the very best. So drama has become addictive. People binge on it. People stay up too late at night catching up on episodes that they've missed. Drama has a unique capacity to brand a channel, to draw attention. It can become an event. So obviously, as I said, drama's been around for a long time, but our 5 panelists today really represent the best of what these countries have to offer. So I would like to start and briefly have each panelist introduce themselves and give an idea of what kind of drama their channel presents. So Sandra, would you like to start?
Sure. Hello, my name is Sandra Coulibaly. I'm from Ivory Coast, from the national television, which is RTI. I'm in charge of RTI distribution, which is a branch in charge of international distribution and co-production as well.
Maciej?
Hi, my name is Maciej Chmiel. I represent Polish television, Channel 2. And let's say TV2 is a leader of Polish drama series, so we have our program constructed upon the series.
Zelda?
Yeah, Zelda Stewart. I'm head of acquisitions at Mediaset in Italy, although I'm British. So, and I've been working there for quite a long time. We acquire lots and lots of series. We also produce lots and lots of series. And we look for basically all different kinds of genre because we have a plethora of different channels and platforms.
That's right. You have free TV. You have everything. You run the gamut.
Free TV, pay TV, and various on-demand services.
Okay, Tara.
So I'm Tara Ellis, and I oversee scripted content for CBC, which is Canada's national public broadcaster. And my bailiwick is drama, comedy, kids, and digital media. On the drama front, we have quite a substantial slate of primetime drama, which has taken a bit of a swing in the past few years because we've been making a move to differentiate ourselves from our private broadcasters in Canada and looking for more of a premium cable flavor to our shows. So we're looking for character-based, serialized programming. But having said that, these shows do live alongside our very popular series like Murdoch Mysteries and Heartland, which occupy more of a family slot. So we have a bit of a dual slate right now.
Katrine?
Yes, my name is Katrine Vogelsang. I'm head of fiction at TV2 Denmark. We are a small country who produce very high quality drama. And at TV2, we do 2 to 5 shows a year, which is big primetime shows, all of them. We can't make anything else work for the Danish audience, so they're quite a demanding crowd, which is good because then it's traveled to everywhere else, which we're very proud of.
So in general, for any panelist who wants to answer, do you find that long-running series are your bread and butter? How do you fit in miniseries or TV movies, or how do you make events? Is that also important for your channels?
Sorry, I can take it. So we have a combination of all of those things. And, I find that we have some long-running series that are audience favorites and just keep coming back and delivering ratings year over year. Then we have some events, mini-series. We had an adaptation of an award-winning novel called Book of Negroes last year, which just did gangbuster ratings. And we're continuing to look at literary adaptations. And I feel like it's important as the national public broadcaster to really have a look at that type of material for inspiration. So it really is led by the creative and by the story for us. And we just find it makes a very interesting schedule to have all different kinds of offerings.
Sandra?
Yes.
We
Okay.
sorry, go ahead.
For us in Ivory Coast, long-running series at what the audience is looking for. They really like to have some kind of permanent appointment, maybe every day or every week for 6 months, because when a TV show is popular among the audience, they really like to talk about it at home, at work, and say, did you see what happened last night on that show? So for us, long running is what we are really trying to long running series is what we are really trying to do.
Right. Zelda?
Yeah, we have a couple of soaps that are long-running soaps, and same thing. People, they become, part of people's real lives.
You schedule your day around them sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I guess a lot of people do. So we still have these important appointments to view, but we also acquire a lot of series which we always hope they become long-running series, and we produce a lot of series which become long-running series too. So I think that on the production side, it's really important because a long-running series gives you a branding and identity for your channels.
Of course, of course.
We just recently changed our strategy. We used to only want long-running shows, but we recently found out that since we have quite a substantial public fund in Denmark who supports only the first season, so therefore to finance drama in general, we have to have shorter seasons, or to have only one-off to get money enough to do it. And we found out that the audience kind of liked it because we can have, it feels vital to the schedule that it was not another long-running drama going to be for many years. So the combination to have miniseries or event scheduling for drama and then also have long runnings when they're good enough for it, it works very well. And for co-production, we more and more look into event schedule. So miniseries is absolutely preferable for us as a co-production.
Right. And Magic on TV2, you offer you have long-running series and mini-series. You offer a variety, or long-running your most?
We have a long and good tradition of long-standing emissions. So we have 2 TV series which are running over 15 years now.
Wow.
And one of them is For Better and Worse, and we are into 700 episodes right now, with 4 million viewers and 32 shares in the market. And then another one is L for Love, which is 1,200 episodes already on the air. And this is over 40% shares with 7 million viewers each time.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. All right, now we're going to get in. Oh, one other question. I would imagine, do local stories, do they attract the largest audiences, or do you also often tackle international themes?
I can answer that.
Sure.
In Italy, I think the shows that perform best have some kind of local hook. So either they're Italian stories with a kind of an international resonance, or international stories with some kind of Italian resonance.
Right. I would imagine, is that pretty much the same for everybody? Yeah. All right, now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts and talk about how these beautiful series are financed. So, Sandra, as much as you would like to divulge to us, Sandra, you told me that the 2 shows we're going to see in your clip are both co-produced. Is that your preferred method of financing series?
Yes, we mainly do co-production. We've been doing that for 2 years now. And generally, we finance in average 50% of the production budget. Sometimes we even go to 100% when the project seems to have a good potential for us, and if it seems that the show has an international potential. But in average, it's 50% of the budget that we finance for co-production deals.
All right. May we see the second clip, please?
Je n'ai pas d'argent ici. Par là, arrête ton style.
Je ne d'ordre à recevoir de personne.
À votre place, je ne ferai pas ça.
Ta marque va servir d'exemple pour tous les gars de ta race, fils de pute.
Les anges appellent Dieu.
Ok, c'est fait.
C'est bon, je le visualise.
Mais c'est bien ces bandits qui m'ont braqué à mon domicile. Tu en es sûr?
Celui-là est mort.
Ne plus. Merde! Un homme à terre, je répète, un homme à terre! Montez!
Okay, who else on the panel co-produces quite a bit, and what are the advantages to a co-production?
Well, we do. We will do 1 or 2 co-productions a year, and the benefits for us is that it helps us tell a kind of story that we couldn't tell just as purely Indigenous Canadian show, and it quite frankly opens up the budget potential too. So through partnerships, we're able to do shows that have a substantially higher budget. It also opens us up to different talent, to cast, directors, other places to shoot. So it's, it makes for a really vibrant schedule to be able to offer all different types of co-productions and productions.
Right. Katrine, does TV2 co-produce as well?
Yeah, we do it all the time. We don't have any in-house production, so the producers of the shows, when it's crime, it's normally a co-production because it's possible. For the very local Danish show, you saw clips of Rita, who's about a Danish school teacher. That is difficult to find partners for that one. But then we co-produce it in Scandinavia because the travel well inside Scandinavia. And then we try to find, my dream is to do 2 truly co-production a year. We have one called Grey Zone, who's more the setup of the bridge, like 2 countries joining. But as all know, it has to be a true angle. We can't put it in together if it's not feels like it's a good idea. So I'm looking mainly to see if it's possible to co-produce with countries we have something in common with, where it makes sense to find the right story.
Right, because the creative has to come, the financial is important, but the creative has to come first.
Yeah, otherwise it won't work, I think.
Right. Zelda, you were telling me earlier that for a while Mediaset had not been doing as many co-productions, and now you're getting...
we last year we announced a return to co-productions. My colleague Ludovica Fonda is working on it's my personal favourite of our co-production slate, because we've got about 6 titles we're working on. With Federación Entertainment, we're going to do Lucky Luciano, which is an amazing story because it's an American story, but it's also an Italian story.
Of course.
So I think it's a story that there are still quite a few stories, great stories that still have to be told. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
For the rest of you who co-produce, I imagine finding the right idea is also key, right? You have to find something that another partner is equally interested in.
Yes, absolutely. For us in Ivory Coast, we have a lot of talents, but the main problem was that the industry was not quite developed.
Right.
That's why RTI, as the public channel, decided to invest in co-production, and we do call for projects, for example, twice a year, in order to select the best TV shows, and we have some experts that help us choose the best projects, and then we decide to finance it, find the right partner as well, for which the story looks interesting as well, and then we decide to co-produce.
Right. Maciej, tell us a little bit about the Polish television industry. There's a long tradition of filmed entertainment, right? When you co-produce, is it for financial reasons? Is it to find a story that maybe you couldn't have done on your own? Or do you produce most of it yourself?
So we are the biggest producer of Polish series and the most experienced one. Then we have the series with the record viewership. So for me, it's over 30% of the yearly emission time, which is the TV drama, Polish TV dramas. So we are concentrated on looking for some new ideas, but we have to preserve all those series which are already on the air and which prove that we have selected them well. And there is a mixed solution for this. What are you asking for? This is we produce some of the series in-house, but most of the producers are situated outside the company. So they are independent, but we still have the practice of hands-on producing. So we control them very closely. We work together as friends, but friends with, as you are driving the car, so you have the experience that you don't have to trust the others too much.
Well, there always has to be a leader in a co-production, right, or for the editorial control?
Yeah, I mean, we find that it's, there is some flexibility. So if we are the originating broadcaster, we typically would be in the front seat or in the driver's seat, I guess. But we're very experienced. We've done a lot of co-productions, and you absolutely have to have that trust and the same vision to move forward. And it's always a collaborative process. So we don't want to be the one who's shutting down a partner's ideas or approvals. It's very much, a group discussion and decision-making process.
Right. One other thing, Tara, if you'd like to explain the audience, CBC, as the public broadcaster in Canada, for a long time has had, I don't know if mission is the right word, but let's use mission for lack of another word, to sustain and support the independent producers in Canada. Can you speak to that for a minute?
Right. It's been quite a few years now that we haven't really done any drama in-house production or scripted in-house production except for on the children's side. So we work exclusively with Canadian independent producers, and Canada has a huge number of treaty co-productions. So when we do a co-production, it will be starting with a Canadian producer, and then they will go out and get the other attachments. So I can give you a couple of examples of co-pros we have coming up. We've greenlit a new adaptation of Anne of Green Gables called Anne, and it's coming up. It hasn't started shooting yet, but we're very excited. It's being written by Moira Walley-Beckett, the Emmy Award-winning writer of Breaking Bad and Flesh and Bone, her latest piece for Stars. So that's a wonderful project with great auspices, and that will be a Canada-UK co-production. And there's another project called The Council, which is a working title, which is actually set in Resolute Bay in Canada's far north. And it starts with a murder mystery in this small Inuit community. And it quickly becomes a much bigger story with geopolitical ramifications. But it's very much a character-based story of two policewomen and an Indigenous policeman who investigate this, and it takes them all over the world, including to Denmark. We were just discussing it. But that will be a Canada-UK co-production as well. So, you know, starting from very Canadian stories to very different stories, there are, you know, great opportunities to look elsewhere for partnerships.
Right. Katrine, you said you mostly co-produce with other Scandinavian partners. Are you open to anybody who is willing to, or there has to be a cultural affinity?
I think we would co-produce with anyone if we agree about the project, and like you said, I think the issue about co-producing is you need to be very clear from the beginning what your demands for your channels are, and the same with your partners, so you don't tear the project in different parts.
Right.
So therefore, it's all about the story. So I think if it's about, I don't know, for example, how different people are, then it would be interesting to do it with a country who's very different, if that's the story.
Right.
If it's not that tone, it would be differently. Like the council you talked about, it's about the Arctic, and since Denmark is involved in Greenland, then it's for sure a project who's we've been looking at.
Right.
So it's all about the story, and I think, and a little bit about the cultures, how we work with the stories. I think that's an issue as well we're looking at.
Right. Zelda, because you have, Mediaset, not you personally, Mediaset has free TV, pay TV, and SVOD. You run the gamut. Different drama for different outlets? How?
No, I'm afraid not. In terms of production and co-production, we try to produce, well, at least drama series for Canale 5, which is our most important flagship channel, which is a broad family channel that quite often gets over 20% share in the Italian market, which is quite hard to do sometimes. And these days, so much competition. So we're looking for as broad a project as possible when we're producing or co-producing.
All right, we have a clip from. Do you want to set that up for us?
Yeah. Well, no, it's just, I just thought bring one show, so it's Task Force with Raoul Bova, and take a look. So.
Okay, may we see the third clip, please?
Don't be afraid, okay? I'll find your family. I promise.
Okay, so that's just a little taste. Obviously, it goes. The clip goes on, but like I said, you know, it's an Italian story because lots of Italian special operations forces,
right.
But it's also an international story, and we've got Raoul Bova, who's a big hero in Italy, and internationally as well, and produced by Raoul Bova's production company.
Right, right. So we've seen so far a vast, we've seen family dramas, we've seen dramas with humor, we've seen pretty serious military operations, there's crime, there's sisterly divisions, which is always a great thing that hits home. Are you looking for any other topics that you haven't explored yet? Is there anything you'd like to do that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
I would like to have the big romance back on television, especially for the Danish audience. It's not a long running, because when they get each other, then the story is over. But I would look very much to have the big love story. It's on the list. And then the big European royalty, all the different royal houses, that could be an interesting story as well, because they're actually involved in each other if you go 100 years back. But it's a big drama, and I don't know who's going to do it.
Well, producers in the audience, if you have an idea afterwards, you can meet with our panelists. Magic, you have L for Love. You already have a big love story. Are you looking for other topics?
Sure, I'm looking right now for a new futuristic sitcom, which will be situated in 250. And the sitcom starts with the scene of international football game at the. This is the final of the
World Cup.
World Cup. That's right, and Poland beats Brazil 7-0. Then the family which watches that asked their German waiter to help them with preparing some food for the night, and the other Westerners, as French people, Belgian people, and so on, they coming to Poland for searching for a new life and better jobs. And we, of course, offer them with open heart, as we are the leader of the high technology, and we are, let's say, the leader of the world.
Thank you. Now that's a hard act to follow. Sandra, are you looking for topics that you haven't explored yet?
Well, we've pretty much experimented very diverse genres until now, but we are looking maybe for 2017 to a historical show maybe. Not sure yet about the topic, but this is something we are really trying to focus on for next year.
Tara, are you looking for anything different?
I'm just racking my brains trying to think.
Well, why don't we show your clip while
I think we are looking for our development slate has been full of a lot of dark crime dramas, and I think we are looking for maybe a love story, or maybe just something that's a bit brighter and has a different tone.
Yeah.
So
I find myself as a viewer, even though I love crime and espionage, sometimes after watching the news, you want something a little different because the news these days is so horrid sometimes. Mm-hmm. All right, why don't we take a look at the third clip? This is from CBC. Do you want to set that up?
Sure. Actually, the first clip is a comedy, so. But I thought it would be interesting to show these two clips because they are a new series that'll be premiering this summer on CBC. So the first is a sketch comedy. It's an all-female sketch comedy group, and it's actually all-female in front of the camera and behind the camera. So we're really excited about this one.
Yay!
And the second is a fantastic new drama series called Shoot the Messenger. Created by Jennifer Holness and Sed Sutherland, who I know are here at MIP. And they've created a number of shows, a few of which have been on CBC, and this is a fantastic, sexy new drama from them.
Great. May we see the last clip, please?
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh God, Sarah, stop crying. We all agreed. Fuck Tom, marry James, kill Todd. Okay.
Oh, there he goes. Oh.
Now go call Tom. He's gonna be so excited.
See you, Todd. Bye. It was nice.
He was nice. That's good enough.
Hey, Tom? Yeah, it's Sarah from the office. Todd. Yeah, I just out with the girls. Listen.
Yes, the real victim, Khalid Farouk Suleiman, 18. He was an A student at South Court School for the Arts. His brother, Khalif Farouk Suleiman, 19, is a member of the Mogadishu Boys. Assault charges, drug charges, gun charges.
I just got off the phone with the editor-in-chief, who just got off the phone with a very sanctimonious deputy police chief, who is positively giddy that we got this wrong.
I am so sorry.
Yes, Marty, we will print a correction and an apology.
I'm fired.
No, actually. No, you're not. Not today. The first thing you're going to do is apologise to the family. Then you are going to work with Simon here on a feel-good piece about Khalid. Khalid. Now, maybe he was dealing or not, but this is our screw-up, so you better find something really fucking good to say. And then you're off this story. Go on, go!
Wow. Okay. Okay, so as I said at the top of the session, there is drama everywhere, and I imagine that on your channels you have a balance of what you produce and also what you acquire. So if we can talk for a moment about acquisitions, how does acquired drama fit into and complement what you produce on your own?
For our audience, it's very difficult to make acquisitions work. We try to event schedule it. Broadchurch went okay. We recently aired Dr. Foster, who also went okay, but not brilliant. So it's very hard to make it work on the main channel. On the niche channel, it's another game, and it's mainly US acquisitions we have there. But we really like to have it work because from my point of view, the more acquisition we can get into schedule, the more local drama I'm able to do. So it would be so nice to have it work. And I think the quality in general of the drama from all countries is so high at the moment. So I really would love to have the Danish audience to see it because it's such a brilliant quality.
Okay, any distributors in the audience, keep that in mind. Anybody else who is balancing acquisitions with their own productions?
As I said before, we've been co-producing only for 2 years now, so we still have to acquire a lot of content of drama, and I think almost 70% of the drama that we schedule on our channels are from acquisitions, and the other 30% are internal production and co-production.
Well, I would like to increase the number of produced TV series and to strengthen internal production skills, and I'm also looking for partners outside the country.
Okay. Zelda, with Mediaset having so many outlets, you must acquire quite a bit.
We produce over 17,000 hours per year, not of drama, but of all genre, of which I'd say we produce about 100 episodes of local fiction, and we acquire over 1,000 hours of drama series per year. So we acquire from the US majors. We have almost output relationships with both Warner Brothers and Universal, and we acquire all rights, so free pay, SVOD, for all our different platforms. And then we also acquire a lot from all over Europe, from the UK, France, Spain, Germany, and further afield too. We've acquired a Bulgarian series, Turkish series. So I'd say we have a very open mind, and almost for all genre we have a channel or a platform that fits.
Jenna Boudreau is our director of acquisitions, who is here at MIP. And so she oversees all of our acquisitions. I think the challenge with CBC is it's one schedule, and there's so much to get packed into it, not just drama, but kids programming, news, current affairs, factual. So I know Jenna's got a few really interesting dramas, in her sightline. And it's just a matter of, finding the right thing. And there's a wealth of great programming out there.
Right. Could you give some examples of when an acquisition is more economical than actually producing it yourself?
It's always more economical to acquire than to produce. But you miss out on the branding and the kind of personality that you're going to give you defining a channel.
Right. Right.
So I think, production and co-production is still very important, but I'm very happy to acquire, otherwise I wouldn't have a job. So.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Yes, I totally agree with you, and I think that co-production is only more interesting in the long term. Acquisition, of course, is more economical at the beginning, but when you build your brand, as you say, with co-production, co-production, and with programs that you co-produce, and then become part of your patrimony, after 10 years, then you can say that you've made a good deal. But at the beginning, of course, acquiring for your channel is better.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and when you're producing shows, that also means you have the rights to distribute internationally, and I'd say that's also an important part of our business.
And I was going to actually... Oh, go ahead.
So within my company, I'm the leader of the opposition to obstruct the idea of buying formats outside rather than creating them inside.
You prefer. A lot of what is coming from the United States right now, well, everywhere. There's the debate whether you want serialized or whether you want what is called procedurals, which are self-contained episodes that can be scheduled in any order. How are you able to accommodate both? Do you have a preference for one?
We're looking for more procedural shows, and because there's a kind of a lack in the market, I'd say, of good quality procedural shows.
Right.
It's the same for us. We're looking for procedurals. I think there's a device in the project at the moment that for the main channel locally, a serialized work very well, but as an acquisition, procedurals is much better. And for the SVOD platform, procedurals, serialized works very well as well. And we have both an SVOD service and the Flow TV channels. And it's I think they splitting up what works each place. It's difficult to find something who works on all the platforms. So I think in that sense, it's the local audience wants serialized, but as an acquisition, it's episodic.
Right, right. And how are you scheduling your drama, whether it's locally produced, whether it's your production or acquiring? Do you sometimes have back-to-back episodes? Do you create marathons on the weekends sometimes? If you have an ongoing series, do you sometimes offer many episodes so that people can catch up? How are you scheduling these?
We have a longer, a kind of full prime time slot. So in the evening, we schedule 2 episodes back to back. And I'd say marathons we use more on pay TV for like creating special events or before a new season is about to debut. I guess that's it.
Right.
We have dedicated slots throughout the week, but our schedule it makes it difficult to do any type of marathoning, and it also doesn't work necessarily with the type of content, which might just be post 9 o'clock or evening, might not work during the day. So we use our online platforms for catch-up viewing, and we also have a relationship with Netflix. And we find a lot of our viewers will do catch-up of a season on Netflix and then come back to CBC to see the new series. So that works well for us.
Right.
So I'm the head of the TV2, which is the main channel of Polish television, but I have also the smaller channel, which is dedicated only to drama and comedy series, the Polish ones. And it gives me very good yearly profit.
Maciej, we weren't able to get the clip to work for a technical problem. I'd like to give you a few minutes. Talk a little bit more about historically what have been the great series on TV2, and if you have anything new coming up that you would like to highlight.
We are, as a state, as a country, we are in the transition period, so we are looking for a new law which will be imposed and which will give us much more money to spend for domestic production. And we are aiming to increase the number of the TV series, not only the love story dramas, let's say, or everyday life stories and comedies, but also there would be a huge investment in historical themes, which would cover the history of Poland and neighboring countries.
That raises a point. Period drama, do you produce any? It's a little more challenging to do. Are you interested in doing more of it? Historical or period drama?
Our biggest hit is the Seaside Hotel, who's set in a seaside hotel in the 1928 to 33. And we had this year, on the 3rd season, we had a share 65 on it. So for sure, there's an audience for that. I think you need to find the right arena, and for us, Mad Men was a great inspiration because then it was a closed arena where we could see it doesn't cost more than doing our other shows. So I think it's possible to do if you think smart as a producer and find the right idea. Because the big, epic, truly historical drama, I think Denmark is a little bit too small financially to do that. Or we can buy it very brilliant from Britain especially. So, but I think the demand you talked about before, the world is getting more and more complex. I think the audience wants to hear more about their roots and getting back in time when the world was a little bit less complex.
There's a nostalgia feeling out there, isn't it, for whether those times really were easier or not. Through the rose-tinted glasses of memory and history, we seem to think that what came before was easier. Are any of you finding that as well? There's a nostalgia among your audience?
Yeah, I think there's a huge appetite for Canadian viewers. And it's for the kind of rose-colored glasses reason, but also Canadian audiences are just fascinated with their history and untold stories, maybe small stories, maybe big stories, but things they're not going to see anywhere else. So it's definitely a big part of what we're looking at going forward.
All right, now I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal balls before we open it up to questions from the audience. As you look towards the future of drama, are you seeing any changes or developments in commissioning or funding that you would welcome?
For us in Ivory Coast, how we see things maybe in 5 to 10 years is that we are trying to develop what we've been doing already for 2 years. We have 2 main markets. First market will be Africa, which is obviously our natural territory, for which we try to produce content at average budget, I would say $10,000 per episode, 26 minutes episode at the most. And then the second market would be the international market, for which we are looking for partners in order to develop the shows that we are trying to co-produce at higher levels of quality, in order, of course, to reach that international market. That's what we've been doing, and what we will do in the next years as well.
That touches on another point I wanted to raise. You obviously when you produce for your domestic market, but is there also a little voice in back saying, what potential is there to sell this outside my market? Is that a consideration?
Yes, of course, because I'm in charge of distribution, so everything I produce is, for me, it's my first objective is to sell. Obviously, it has to air on the channel as well, but the main objective of co-producing is to sell internationally.
Right.
I think you should be very aware of where your audience are, your local audience, and the Danish, how it works for us is actually the more local we go, the better it travels. And I'm a little bit worried about all the distributors coming into the market want to be producers, actually. I'm sorry to say it here. But there's a tendency to trying to figure out what they want instead of having a focus on a great story. And I think that's a big thing we should be very aware of. Because it's not only to see how can we put the finance together, it is about making a great show. And that should be, that we all should keep on have the focus on.
Right, that should be number one.
We don't have, because we work with independent producers, we typically don't hold rights internationally for our programming. But it is so important, I agree stories first, but it's so important that a show is sustainable, financing is sustainable, and that requires partners who believe in the project, and generally that's a distributor who's participating. So if a show's successful for us internationally, A, we love it because it looks good on us, but B, it means that the show has strong support and hopefully will continue to go on.
And we have started negotiations with BBC Worldwide to produce together the 6 episodes drama series regarding Polish traces within the world history.
Excellent. All right, we have a few minutes left. Do we have questions from the audience? I think is a microphone coming?
Hello. What are the key demographics that you guys are looking to fill for this round of buying?
The key demographics. So we have a very broad demo that we look for. It's 25-54. Some projects, some shows skew more female, some more male, some younger, some older. So it really depends on the show and the slot. I would say the one place I could be a little more specific is for our digital originals, which for a lot of reasons are just skewing a lot younger. We tend to look at very specific types of comedy originals. And we do some co-pros, actually, for digital.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about our main channel, we're a very commercial business. So we're looking at a purely commercial target, which is 16 to 64, which I guess isn't so easy. But yeah, for the online platforms for Infinity, we be looking much younger.
I'm the national broadcaster, so I have a mission to fulfill. So for me, the wider audience, the better.
I have the TV2 in general have 20-60s as a target group, family orientated. But for drama, it's 3+, which makes it quite challenging. But it works okay. I would say the feel of it, we can't do very, very dark story where the world has come to an end. That's impossible. But except for that, we can do quite a lot of things.
Well, in Ivory Coast, 70% of the population is under 18. So the main audience is, I mean, the young people.
Any more questions? I can't see. Yes, there's one there.
Hi. To Katrine, you mentioned that if you have more acquisition, you can do more local drama. Can you open this a bit?
Yeah, since acquisition is so much cheaper than to have locally produced content in the schedule, then the more acquisition who will work in the schedule, the more we can gathering a big amount of money and then do drama for that. So that's how it works. It's to make the year budget work.
Okay. Any upcoming series that you have that you, as we wind up, do you want to pitch anything that is coming up that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, no, for sure. As a not very typical TV2 project, we're trying to do miniseries, and it all started that we could see that the very best talent was difficult to get involved in long-running TV series. And all of them were moving to the US, so we thought, how can we keep them here? And miniseries is one of the way of doing it. And our first project, which we're trying to get financed, is made by Nordisk Film. It's called Lucky Per, who is a Nobel Prize-winning book from the 100 years ago. A guy called Henrik von Toppedam was written it about a guy called Lucky Per. His name is Per, but he's very lucky, and he was he was an engineer. And he had a vision, and he spent all his life trying to make the world have sustainable energy, which is quite amazing. He did that 100 years ago. So it's a coming-of-age story, and it's not very commercial, so it's not a typical TV2 project, but I really hope that we can somewhere find a way of doing it. So all the public service broadcasters in the world, we hope for your support, because it's not a true commercial project in that sense. So trying to say we have all this being a commercial public service broadcaster as TV2 are, it's so nice to have some projects where it's not a strategy, we're not supposed to do it, but it's just a great project.
It's a passion project.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels good to be me, to be able to do stuff like that, because otherwise it can be... Yeah, reality eats strategy for breakfast, and that works in reality.
Any passion projects here on the panel?
Well, we've been working for almost 1 year now with a South African partner on a science fiction project. This is something very new for us. We've been doing comedy for the last 20 years, and Now this project is quite ambitious, and we hope to be able to produce it next year. And we are still looking for other partners as well as broadcasters. And this is a story that takes place in the near future. And it's a story actually taking place as well between Ivory Coast and South Africa. And this is why we have this South African partner as a co-producer.
And I'm interested in telling the untold stories from the past. For example, there is a story of the that starts at 1980 as when Solidarność movement began. And then there was a martial law imposed by communist regime in Poland, and there was a new clandestine organization which was called Solidarność Walcząca, Solidarity in Fighting, which was totally run as a high-tech organization by elite scientists from Wrocław, and in fact they ruled the whole city for 8 years under the communist regime. The story is not told yet, not known to the world, but it's very interesting as an example of how people can organize even if in a very bad conditions and fight for freedom.
That's fascinating, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're still looking for additional partners for Lucky Luciano. And we have another project called Emila, the girl who avenged Che Guevara, which is another amazing, again, coming-of-age story. It's also a political thriller, and that, I would say, is a passion project of some of my colleagues, and I really hope we're doing it together with a Ziegler film, but again, we're looking for partners.
We've just announced another new show called Caught, which is from Alan Hocko, who was the star and creator of one of our long-running series, The Republic of Doyle, which did very well on CBC. So that's, it's period that it's the 70s, and it's a bit of a drug crime thriller with comedic elements. So that's one I'm really excited about that's coming in January.
All right. Well, will you please join me in thanking our panelists, and thank you for taking time to be with us today. Thank you.